we're recording. We are about to begin the Parking Advisory Committee meeting for March 25th. We have Diane Mariano, Chuck Gilroy, John Rankin, and John Cohn, and we are in session. Now, let me get...
Do you have any visitors?
Not yet.
Do you want to put up the agenda? Is that what you're looking for?
That's
John?
what I'm looking for, yeah.
It's out on, should be on Richmond.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. We have the agenda up. First, we will, should I read it out loud or do I need to do that?
It's helpful if somebody's watching.
All right. For those of you who are playing the home game, we will have public comment at 6:05, 6:10.
Oh, no, you don't have to read the whole thing. But
okay. And then we'll ask for additions or deletions to the agenda.
So the first thing is assign member.
Are you, one of you taking notes? Do you need me to do time
Do
code?
my best to substitute.
Okay, good. All right.
Chuck's going to
Fantastic. So Chuck is going to report.
time stamping and Chuck is going to do the minutes.
Okay. We can take, welcome anyone who's there from the public, and we can take public comment now.
Is there anyone there, John?
You could display the,
Is there somebody there?
sometimes you have to let them in now, right?
Yeah.
Is there?
Hearing none, I believe that they would be here. Is that right?
Yeah.
We'll see a one will pop up there as they start joining. Lisa joins.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
we, I see there's a email from Duncan from Meg's about parking. Do you want me to take that as public comment from her? She was unable to attend.
Yeah, I
want to
think,
put it on the agenda.
I think because that is a public comment, why don't we listen to it and then decide whether.
Would you like that? Okay. So have all the thing on here.
Was it any more than I'm not gonna be there tonight? Make sure you lock up. There's more than that.
Meg's said, Meg's here. She says, hi, I won't be able to attend the Monday meeting, sorry. Just a quick note, RE parking in front of the food shelf thrift shop in town. Please consider having only smaller vehicles in that last spot on Bridge Street going south as the road takes a jog to the right, coming from Main Street Route 2 and going toward the hardware store in Richmond Market. Too often there is a pickup truck or another full-size vehicle that is parked there and it sticks out into the lane. Thanks, Meg. Meg's here.
Forward it to Josh, or if we can say,
It came from Duncan,
oh, Duncan.
which I kind of think that's Josh's second person. And I just noticed it today and I printed it out for tonight. Would you like me to just send this to Josh and say?
Yeah, and that's, who would that fall under? That's the parking committee, not the recreational parking, or
That's just the town.
town? Okay.
They should put a sign that says compact car parking only, and I park my truck there and I move it all the time because she's totally right. So we're forwarding this to.
Forward it to Josh. And then forward this email to Josh and saying, sounds like a town thing. Like a town road issue. We agree Do we agree? I've never parked there, so I don't know.
I sympathize with her concern, yes.
Sympathize, I love that word.
Yeah.
And see the issue. Perhaps,
Do we add our opinion like that?
perhaps a compact car sign would be good. Does anyone, I'm just gonna send him off a note. I will not copy Meg's, I'll just send it right to Josh. I'll ask him, is there anything more that we need to do with it, or it's something that they will do? Does anyone have any comments in addition to that? Don Co?
Nope.
Okay. I'll just follow up with that next week, since, whenever we meet again. Okay.
All right. So that, and I think that says that doesn't need to be added to the agenda. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We'll get in the minutes.
So let's move straight into the first agenda item, which is creating skater parking.
Additions or deletions to the agenda.
Sure.
I guess the town's handling the Eclipse parking.
Oh,
Do we need a moment for that, or is that pretty clear that they've got that covered?
A great.
that's a
thing to
great
bring
thing to
up.
talk.
Open
No.
time at 7:45. You want
Let's
to add
let's
it?
discuss it. Yeah.
Just briefly discuss it at 7:45.
I would also like to add, if we had time, discussing the parking area up by the old water tower. I believe that's town land. I believe it's a parking area, and right now it's in no man's land, and I wonder if we shouldn't take that under our wing.
Yeah. Well, there was
We can discuss that at
Yep.
7:55.
all right, that sounds great. Any further additions?
Looking at the agenda, I have, one of the takeaways I had last week was to, reach out to Jim Feinson, and I don't see it on here, and it is, he was able to email me, unfortunately, he was unable to come tonight. I just got the email today, so I couldn't tell you for anything for the agenda. Where would you all like me, I could just, there was points I sent him, and then he responded with what's going around in the area for Richmond.
Are they do they fall into any one of these areas, or are they hit on several?
Great question.
Thought they were
Well,
number 3, East Cochran.
or we could consider that public comment, again, just like we did Meg's. How about that?
He talks about everything. He talks about, the plans, yeah, maybe I should read it to you all. It has something about overrockers, a question about overrockers, Gillett Pond, Willis Hill. Was an email asking those questions. So do you want, we could put it right into the,
Inject his comments as they fit into the agenda.
sure,
Okay,
love
so
that.
we're going
love
to,
that,
we're going to read them
Yes.
as they go. Okay,
yes,
Mm.
great idea.
okay. And Diane, you'll insert them where they are. Okay.
Thank you. Oh, and I also had a takeaway last week to ask Josh about the leftover road with the Route 2 work near the firehouse. And I got a response from him, like, take 2 seconds.
And the other no man. Good one.
Well, it's could be no man's land is the answer. But, so do you want to put that on at the end also? Route 2 near firehouse? Yeah. Okay. That's all for me.
Do we know who that would belong to? Is that
The V-Trans.
Matrix? Okay. The other additions or deletions? Okay, we're right on schedule.
Wow.
Okay, first topic is creating skater parking for Gillett Pond on West White Hill Road across from the dam. I believe that this is on the landowner's property, right?
Mhm.
So what is the discussion there?
well, I could fill in a little bit what Jim said. I also would, I would caution us to talk about ice skaters because it's also could be used for a lot of people use it for the news during the summertime. So I think that, creating, maybe we'll just call it recreational parking. How about that?
Sometimes I write these in a way that
Yeah.
interested parties will see if there's something there for them. So
Would-
it's kind of going back
Did a
to
great, did a great.
what John had done with Tyler, and we talked a lot about these Cochran. I didn't feel like we touched
Mhm.
base enough on.
I don't have careful notes with me from our conversation with Tyler. Was there anything of significance that he said? Did we need to?
I have it here. And that's, it's, can be something we can move on. Sure.
Oh, I have that too.
Yes. So that's a good thing. Let's just, the West,
In conclusion, Gillett Pond will be in compliance with the zoning regulations. However, it will require conditional use approval by the Development Review Board once the project has DRB approval and can then apply for a zoning permit. There are several steps to get that, to push that over the finish line.
And there was discussion if we could just ask Josh to assign someone to make it happen.
Oh.
Rather than us preparing the stuff for the Development Review Board,
the other thing that. Mhm.
Yeah, is that our job to, or is it their job to do that? I think it would, you're right. I agree.
I like that. I do really, I have to say this, I really, because I respect Pete so much. He has his reservations. He's willing to do the work if the select board says, go do this work. He would really like us to wait till the dam gets built before we proceed, to see what they have over there and see if it's a need. That was his comments. I think at the meeting that we were with him, he had said that. Now, I don't know how you all feel about that. There's gonna be a lot of work up there with a lot of dump trucks, and once they get underway,
Lisa's joining.
there we go.
hello, Lisa.
Jim doesn't give me
Hi,
a
Lisa.
date.
Can you hear us? Okay.
Jim doesn't give me a date, but he says, we plan to proceed with the planned off-street parking lot at Gillett Pond. This is in the budget and the funds are in hand. And they think it's gonna be 6. They don't know until all the work gets done. And he did not give me a date as to when that project will begin. How do you all feel about, when do you want to push this as a project for us?
Well, if things stay as they are, that perhaps there would be room for, was it 6 to 10 cars? And there's good ice next year. I assume people will just go back to parking on the road, that was possibly just a one-time event of police interest. No record of, that I'm aware of serious accidents happening on that road. Yesterday, I went skiing at the Catamount Center in Williston. The parking lot was full. I parked on the road. Everyone else was parking on the road. Police didn't come and issue any tickets. So that would be one possible outcome. Yes. That if we were to delay, that people would still skate and park on the road, and hopefully, again, there wouldn't be any serious accidents.
They would also have the benefit of 6 to 8 additional parking spaces in the RLP parking lot.
Right.
Hopefully. So am I hearing that we want to take a wait and see on this, or am I hearing that we want to try to get this in before winter?
I wasn't weighing on that.
I personally would like to wait till the dam gets built. I feel, and even if we just, I don't know when it gets finished, say it gets finished in July, it could possibly be done in July and sort of sense it then. I don't know the process to get the road work done in fall or even later, or if everyone says this, wait until springtime and we'll do that part. I feel, again, I appreciate Pete's input and in his we just wait and see how that plays out first.
One of his specific concerns was people crossing the street.
Absolutely.
I don't know how serious a problem that is. I don't have any good way of measuring that. People may park on that side of the street as it is, but that was its
I
concerns.
also wonder with the work that is happening, if the sides of the road will be different when they're done. I don't know that. I don't know if there'll be more shoulder. I mean, they aren't making more shoulder, but just the activity of that work.
When you talked to Pete, and he said he'd like to see the dam done, that was not, he's ruled out using the dirt for fill, right? So it was just a matter of
Yes.
how the parking, not because of the staging of that, okay.
That-
But just kind of
thanks for-
along the line of what you just said.
Thanks for reminding us.
Maybe before we tackle it too much further, we should have a conversation with Josh and find out who should be getting the DRB approvals, who should be getting the zoning permits, all those things ahead of time. We need to get a conditional use permit, or someone needs to get the conditional use permit from the DRB. And then once it has DRB approval, then then we have to apply, or someone has to apply for a zoning permit. It seems to be a little bit of groundwork. Maybe we should take the project that far. And
And
not necessarily push it over the end, they're going on until we.
Am I,
how things look.
am I correct that getting the conditional use and even going through the zoning doesn't commit us to do it, right?
I
So
don't
would just-
know. I don't know if there's any money spent. I don't know if I don't know if it has to be surveyed. We're dealing with a private landowner.
Mhm.
I don't know. People's time will be taken up, ours included. But I'm all about getting more educated. So, in some ways, just asking Josh that we want to know the process and the time involved and who will be doing the work.
But the idea of if he comes back to us, tells us that it's not a big deal, is your idea to go ahead and get that far, just in the outside case that they make enough progress that we could move on that?
Yeah, I think.
Instead of
where
waiting-
Diane was going, that there's
Yeah.
a potential that by the end of July or the end of
Yeah.
August. The
Yeah.
final project has taken shape enough up there that
So
we know what we're dealing with. I totally agree with her that anything before then would probably end up. We'd stub our toes and end up tearing it out or something.
Mhm.
I guess my initial question would be, does someone want to reach out to Josh and find out who's supposed to get the use permit from DRB, and then who does? the
Shall I
zoning
ask
permit?
him
You want?
if we're headed that direction?
Okay.
Well, I think you could even tell Josh that, we're considering seeing what happens and what plays out up at Gillett Pond. However, we know that getting these permits and these conditional use and getting on people's calendars takes a while. Who does this? Is it us? And since we've never done this, is there any mentoring that can happen to help if we're going to do this? Like, how do we do this? I guess we look at the regs and we get help. Thanks, John.
All right, and the fundamental problem is it's zoned for agriculture and housing, but when the zoning was made up, nobody put in anything about a recreational parking lot, so we need to have a,
I think Overlockers is AR.
yeah.
My house is AR, your house is AR. You know, I think this,
Yeah.
we're not paving a new road here.
Yeah,
I think we're doing something that's been done over and over.
Okay. So we have some follow-ups, we're a little ahead of schedule, but could we go on to, the next topic, which is discussion regarding the seasonal signs? What is on the signs, where could they be placed, and who would create them? Is this only in terms of the, checkered house parking area, or all of them?
This was on Diane's thing, I think, so I'll let her.
Well, we were, yeah, seasonal neighborhood signs almost,
Oh.
or even Richmond signs. It's, what kind of sign can we put that's not legalese, not, yeah, I mean, I guess I want it to be legal, but isn't, you know, by the town road system, like, how can we do we want to say, put a sign down at Overrocker and say, you know, welcome to Overrocker Park, you know, please enjoy the trails and the river, and this is our neighborhood, our town, and I have no words, you know, can we, you know,
To warm it up.
to warm it up, to invite, you know, maybe a little empathy, a little bit of, you know, bring them on board to help us keep it clean. Or the sign, again, we'd have to work with the Richmond Land Trust, but, you know, a sign that, you know, is on their land, maybe on the way down to Triple Buckets, and kindly help us keep our neighborhood clean as you visit this beautiful
Park
resource.
responsibly, yeah.
Whatever- I do not have the golden words. I've been thinking about this for about 6 months, because I'm thinking like, oh, well, we work so hard on, you know, finding the right words. They understand they're car towed. We also like say like, welcome. Come enjoy our town and our neighborhood.
So is the main thing, I mean, I could see wanting to make them feel welcome. You could also, I think is the main reason we want a warm tone and sort of get them to appreciate that this is a neighborhood to behave. It's more about, you know, please respect as opposed to please enjoy. Is that right? I mean, you can have the same tone. I'm thinking of the on Duxbury Road, the Kilpex, you know, slow down critters sign with, you know, pretty stuff. It really I see it every
Makes me
time.
slow down every single time.
Yeah.
More so than any.
Than, you know, than
any
a speed
speed sign.
thing, because, you know, like, did they draw that duck?
Yeah.
You know,
So you're more looking, for the minutes here, you're looking for a friendly request for cooperation rather than informative signs that are saying, close at, you know, open dawn to dusk, and
well, they could be both.
It could be both though, Chuck. It could be like if it was at Overrocker. I guess it could be both. And it would have to be probably tailored for the neighborhoods, whatever it happens to be.
Well, I think it's
I have no
interesting.
answer. I just was bringing it up to you all to, you know, see what you think about it. Could it be even, like, could it even be, you know, pass it off to the neighborhood? Like, would Dugway Road like to adopt a couple of signs that says,
I wondered about passing this off to, you know, the after-school program here, or to the schools or whatever.
That's interesting.
It's,
I think we have to be careful to make sure that some things are rules, like you will get towed, and some things are requests, and we need to make sure that they're not mixed, but I like that idea, especially
here that we're gonna be doing any, you will be towed signs. I think we have those, right? You're looking
Right.
for more of please pick up your trash and clean up after your dog and those kind of things.
could also say park responsibly, please.
Sure.
Yeah.
although that's too harsh. I would like it more
Yeah.
welcoming.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
We've already told that story with the legal highway signs. I don't know if we need to take this any further. I'll keep thinking about it if I get inspired for something, but it's interesting. Definitely could.
I can wonder if there's any research that would weigh the various approaches and tones of these signs, and it's not something I'm wanting to investigate. It also might make the neighbors feel better that at least they're trying to communicate, whether or not it's effective. I don't have much to add, but other than there's some unknowns here, and I don't know.
I'm gonna actually ask Jim Feinson.
Talk about this, I always picture, or the barber shave signs, or wherever they were when you came into town, and it gave you like a, right for the 4th of July every year, when you come from 2, you had like 10 signs in a row, and the first one would say, welcome, the next one would say 2, and the third one would say 4th of July parade, park carefully, or whatever it was, barber saw, barber shave, something like that.
Yeah,
Something out of the 50s, but I always get, when I see those, I get really enticed, I have to read everyone.
makes me smile. I'll ask Jim Feinson because most of this stuff is on their land. I have nothing else other than that. John, I have done a lot of looking. I wouldn't call it research, but I've done a lot of looking around and haven't come across any studies, but a lot of neighborhoods do it. You know, some people put poems out or a quote out, you know, and personally, I feel like it's received very well. Like there's one on the lower Dugway.
Oh.
Oh, John.
Little chap.
Where? If it makes anybody, I apologize for that. I was talking to Josh. Lisa, Vermicelli. Oh, okay.
Well done.
What is
I like
that?
it.
Had
Do you
something with
remember?
shaving, obviously, I don't know.
Well, but they were really special because they were telling a story one sentence at a time. So it was a little fun, compelling thing because they would change as you went further,
Particularly a limerick or a poem or something embedded in
and
there.
they would change it up. It was the first, kind of.
So I'm gonna give it an opposite example.
Well done, Lisa.
On the Lower Gorge Trail, which I'm sure you've gone to recently, there is a sign about picking up dog poop,
Yeah.
and it's very angry.
Yeah, somebody
And-
added that.
And
but-
every time I walk by there, I'm like, "Ah, so angry. I understand, but if I'm going into nature, I see an angry sign, and it really is like, I understand. I understand the value behind it, but it's really lost on me. It's really lost when I see angry signs.
Mhm.
I don't think people change behavior based on an angry sign.
Polarizing.
Yeah, it stops us from,
Join in.
yeah. All right, that's my bit. I'll keep
Um,
looking and thinking, and I'll let you know if anything needs to be added.
The,
Thank you for listening and hearing me on that, you all.
in terms of our purview, the only places where we could do it would be in town-owned land, like Overrockers, right?
Over Rocker.
Or maybe the water tower or a couple of places. Or maybe even with V-Trans permission. But in terms of the other properties, which are land trusts, we could engage. What would we do? We'd suggest that they consider that?
I'm gonna ask Jim Feinson. I know they spend a lot of time on their signs. I'm gonna just ask if they even thought about. I will take that away as one. And I don't think you have to put this back on the agenda unless I let you know. Or I'll add it later.
Plant the seed,
Thank you.
we just need to.
Thank you.
I like it.
I do, and a tangent on this is that I'm getting nowhere with V-Trans as far as getting a permanent sign that says May 15th to November 15th.
Hi.
Checker house parking. So I would love to have a temporary sign that says Richmond Recreation Parking Area, seasonal parking opens May 15th, closes November 15th, so people aren't surprised. That doesn't really fall into that category, but it would be one of our temporary signs if we're looking to get the word printed.
Sounds good. All right, 6:30.
Okay,
Still on.
Chuck, was that all of the, or do we have, we're about at time, did we?
Anything else on that topic? I'm good.
Your topic. I'm
My
good.
topic,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep mulling it over. And I'll talk to Jim and we'll talk about overlocker when we get to it. Okay.
I think Lisa, the last thing is, I think Lisa's thing of a little heartfelt and humor is also.
Well, I like
Yeah.
what Chuck said too, to get, the elementary school, and middle school.
Yeah.
To make us a sign, a neighborhood sign or that's kind of fun too. I like that. All right,
Okay,
Done.
6:30, we're moving on to the third point, which is East Cochran Road parking options. I apologize for being a little inattentive there. I was answering Josh. I had one to do, which was to check with Josh. We had talked a little bit about the railroad right-of-way parking. And I had the to-do to gauge his, what he thought about possibly thinking about maybe kind of re-engaging the railroad, given that at the, so Lisa, I don't know if you know this story, you remember, were you here last week? But maybe 2 years ago, we went around to try to figure out who owned the right of way across from Be There Towing for the railroad. Complicated path. It had been sold to Canadian National, then it was sold to GMRR. We found the right people. We went through a bunch of legal machinations, and then we found out it was going to be $1,000 a year for, I believe it was 8 parking places. Is that correct? I have to do a little archaeology. But given that we really do want to, balance safety and access to East Cochran Road, is it worth, and Josh just said, yeah, it's worth looking into it, seeing where that is. So I'm going to do a little bit more archaeology, try to warm up the contact we had and see where that stands. I mean, I think it's a lot, $1,000 a year then might even be more now. And of course, we have, there are other users of that land like Be There. We wouldn't want to, impact their business, but maybe seasonally that we could work something out. So anyway, I got his go ahead to, it's not out of the question. That's what he said. So.
Okay.
Good.
So you're gonna,
Yeah. That's breaking news. Yes.
And did Jim weigh in on,
so I was just gonna read that to you. We do not have a conclusion on developing the drop-off area and handicap spots at Bombardier. I believe this is still our intent, but I expect we will want to collaborate with the neighbors. Also with major projects at Gillett Pond and Willis Hill, that Donahue brook that they're working with in the works this year, plus the Beacon lot. I am not sure if we will get to it. And that's, he says, for your information, we had a request from a nonprofit to open Bombardier lot for one-time fundraising float event, and we have said no because of all the disruption that would cause. And let me, they are talking about the Beacon canoe access also. He gave me an update on that. We can talk about that later.
So in a nutshell, what did he say as it applies to?
Nothing's gonna happen this year, is what, he didn't say those words to me, but that's what I read. I read that.
I kind of got the same, thank you.
and there was an action item for us to talk and I didn't reach
No,
out to you.
I dug around into seeing what they were doing in Montpelier, since that's all flood area and all that stuff, and that most everything they're doing down there as far as moving around materials and all that stuff is falling under an emergency management act type of a thing. Which has, Hurricane Irene, they had excavators in every river out there getting fill, which of course, no. So I did not learn anything new about that. I did not find a loophole or find anything that I thought was gonna be pertinent to try to get us to get that change. My gut told me that I think there is a conversation coming up soon about doing something at the recreation at Folgers Green Park down here to create some fill space in there so they don't wash out $200,000 worth of children's play equipment down there every year. I kind of thought it was to let them fight the fight and see if we can tag on to their success.
Okay.
So one option at some point, would be to encourage the land trust to move forward with the knowing that that might not happen this year, but they were in the past responsive to encouragement from the town and perhaps would be again if I'm also thinking in the past, there have been varying opinions on the land trust board, and at some point, the committee or the select board, if they chose to do so, could share with the land trust they thought it was a good idea that there be parking of some sort, turnaround, whatever.
Yeah, that was part of the original use there, and I think there's a real push for a lot of lands to be more accessible to, which I think is great also. I have no idea how that would work in that flood area, because it's always changing. Yeah, there's no answers right now.
I think I don't see a lot of options here to have things change before summer. I think
I did read a VT, for what it's worth, a VT Digger article that there is a push in the legislature. It's not all the way fully passed yet, that the state would like to take over the river corridor for usage and development due to floodplain issues that they've been having. I feel like they have the resources at the state level, all the environmentalists and all the work, and the article stated that they found that it's hard for some towns to do the due diligence when it has to do with the river corridor. I'm not sure exactly what river corridor is. It might just be the Winooski, but there might be other ones that they're thinking about. I have a feeling it all has to do with Montpelier and Waterbury and how they continue to get washed out. And not to mention Richmond 3 times this past year. So I think they're probably looking at a bigger need to help out and oversee, what I'm guessing. So I have no, you can look it up if you want to. see what's going on with that.
Oh, so we probably don't know, but if they did that, would that mean tougher guidelines? Or, I mean, maybe some towns would have more lax and some towns that aren't very compliant would have tougher. They didn't say anything like that.
It's just
At least it'd be
passing through
consistent.
Congress right
Yeah.
through our Senate.
Mhm.
Something to watch for.
I hope something like that. And again, I always go back to this, but the great unknown in any of the parking we do is how much abuse is happening to the natural resource. And we look at the Winooski River, every place we have parking, the banks are destroyed. And that's just because that's where the focused use is. That's there has to be some input from the state or whoever that says, this is an overuse, this is too much, this is too little. I know if we try to put a parking area out west or a place like that, then DNR goes through with a tremendous study to see whether you can do anything or not. I don't have an answer. I'm just saying that's always been a frustrating piece to me, is that we don't have control when we've created too much parking.
Good point. Yeah. And where?
And where? Right, 20 spots spread out is better than 20 spots in one place.
All right.
And I guess I'm of the opinion that I wasn't 100% sure that Tyler was right, that it couldn't be done to have roadside parking near the bridge, but at the moment, the faster path to getting more parking in the area would likely be another avenue of either the land trust coming through or potentially along the railroad. And we could look a little more again at the obstacles, but they did seem the moment significant.
Pete was pretty supportive of what Tyler said.
Yeah.
He said that's not up.
Yeah.
That, you know, far fetched, so.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We ready to move on?
I am.
Okay, all right, so we're about 15 minutes ahead of time. So we're gonna move on to point 4, the discussion topics, which is the annual opening of the parking areas at Checker House Bridge. And I take that to mean when, how, who.
I believe we have to meet with V-Trans and file a K something form. I did it last year with Kevin. I will follow up on that, see what that meeting entails.
Is there,
Does this have to happen every year?
that's what I was gonna,
That'd be my question. I don't know. I know I did it last year with him and because he was fading out.
be nice to be, if there was some automated way, or
Do it
just
for
a
like
couple of
5
years.
years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that may be the case. It was not a big deal. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was 15 minutes of people agreeing on common sense things and.
And if anything happens, it'd be great to grab one of us for continuity, you know, just sort of have, more as we move on. Chuck, I did a little looking around for nicer ropes. I haven't come to the right height, because they're more like, they're lower, the ones that I've seen. They're called, rope stakes. And they are a stake that has like a little loop at the top, and then you
Yeah.
put a nice looking rope through it, but you don't tie each one. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's an eyelet. Yeah, it's an eyelet that you go through this eyelet. And I looked at them and they're like for walkways. At least they were 42 inches, but you have to put them into the ground. That'd be probably like 36 inches. That's not, car's gonna back up into that. We don't want that. We want them high enough for visibility. But it might be nicer looking options out there that I'm happy to look over with you also. And I did like these walkway ones. They looked really good, especially with a nice thick rope through it.
Rope.
We need it to go down far enough so somebody doesn't pick it up and move it. They would be able to move these stakes.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I kept trying to go over there. There's a post that's broken and a rope that's down in the front, and before the snow, people had been parking there.
Mhm.
And I haven't done that yet. If anyone wants to help me, or if you want.
Yeah, when I went over there and just shut that down, that rope that is down is a rope that I made out of every possible piece there.
I've done that.
Yeah.
UV light.
Well, here's a question is, do we want something stronger? I mean, obviously it's gotta be safe, so it can't be thin, high tensile steel, but we could make something that would be more robust.
I really
I-
like
Is
Chuck's
that a
comment.
Pete thing though, or is that an us thing?
He would like it to be
He-
an us thing, I think.
Yeah.
Well, unless he's gonna make a permanent thing. He does mow there, so we need Pete involved, right?
How would we fund such a purchase?
You mean if we went for the nicer one?
If
The
I mean, no
stakes
matter
and
what,
the
stakes.
We need to get a rope this year.
Well, he does have rope and stakes we can use.
Okay.
So-
They have,
So that'd
that's
be
part of the
really-
general fund. We could get that from him. Somebody have a hands up?
I have a question that I thought when we were on item 2, discussion regarding seasonal signs. Do we feel, didn't we discuss at one point having a sign off season saying it's closed until? Did we
So I was saying, was that like
A more
a seasonal?
durable, yeah. To
Typically
say
what happens-
when it's open, but when it's not, or it's
I understand
just,
it exactly on, and the fact that the weather warms up a little bit and somebody pulls down in there, well. Not dry in there and, you know.
Yeah,
they
they'll
could
tear
make
it
a little
up.
mess and they could get stuck and all that. It would be nice if we could say, sign right there said not open. Right now they say. There's no sign.
So before you came on with Kevin, it was super muddy there. People were parking all over the place. And I adjusted the rope one more time and I put a handwritten, nice sign.
I remember that.
Mud season opens April. It lasted for maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
They just grabbed it and tossed it or took it or they did something with it. Because it's unofficial, but it was like, oh, like I made that sign and then put it up. So I don't know if we need a more four-posted kind of, the signs that you've been dealing with up on Dugway that gets in there and it's not gonna go.
This is kind of why, I'm hoping that we have another V-Trans permit due and we have to meet them again. Because I'd really like to get in the same place with those people, with a couple of us and a couple of them, and say, okay, can we put a four-sided metal post here and a four-sided metal post here, and can we run a rope between those metal posts through the off-season, and
So it's closed.
it's closed on there, and something that's not easily messed with as opposed to, I mean, those little garden stakes we have, they're not one of them that looks right. They're
Yeah.
all like,
embarrassing
Yeah.
to come into Richmond. That's the first thing you
Yeah,
see.
first thing, yeah,
Pop up car corral thing.
all right.
an electric fence.
That's what-
All right. So is the to-do that we will reach out to V-Trans? Is that?
So I will take care of reaching out to V-Trans and see if I need to set up a meeting. To be honest with you, I think I'm gonna try to set up a meeting, even if we don't need to do the permit thing.
Mhm.
If we can get a couple of us to show up there, then we can at least get the guardrails pointing us in the right direction of how to do what we're trying to do here.
I really like the idea, if we can, to have that Pete put two of those really four-sided. So I think it's probably, he can do it over on the Johnny Brook side. That's where they would go. They're in his road
Right-of-way, yeah.
right
Oh,
away.
that's right.
So if we can put two of those wherever they're supposed to be and with signs on both of them, and then, yeah, we
That's
put
good.
a closed, better rope there, and then maybe from those signs, we could like, I'm totally confused on how that snaking stuff works.
Yeah, there's a main entrance to the parking area, then from the western side of that entrance, all the way to the corner is pretty much single car pull-in parking up to the road. Now you're getting me to second guess myself, and I'm wondering, well, if Pete can put a post in there in the right of way to use as a fence, then why can't Pete put a sign on that post that says
Close,
seasonal
yeah.
parking,
Yeah.
and that sign that we did devise, I thought
Yeah.
looked good.
That's great.
I'm trying to remember,
I'm thinking. Pete
There's-
can do a sign.
there's no way, the grade is so steep that you couldn't go from Route 2 directly down into there,
No.
would you? You'd have to go on Johnny Brook. Well, that means,
Oh, you're looking to see if someone could sneak in there?
yeah, so, but it sounds like, I mean, not without,
V-Trans is actually like from the guardrail on Route 2 to, I believe it was 15 feet in. They would like us to put another fence there.
Hmm.
Because they would like that to continue to grow natural, and then that's kind of where things go uphill a little bit. Then I think last year Pete made an effort just not to mow there.
Gotcha.
I think last time Pete attended that meeting when there.
All right.
all right? Anything more on
I'd
Checkered
be
House?
happy to help
Oh,
you.
Okay, let me-
Need
let me
daytime help with anything.
Get these scheduled, thank you.
okay, anything else on Checkered House?
Nothing from.
All right, we're ahead of schedule. The next, discussion 6 is to approve the 3/11 meeting minutes that Matt created.
I think first we want to agree we're meeting on April 22nd.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, confirm that we're meeting on the 22nd. Sorry, I missed that.
Right now, we're okay unless I need to get some sunshots.
We got some time, so let's give that a,
In which case I'll phone in.
we'll give it very likely.
Yes,
From the
go ahead and say
South Pole.
yes, and I will, I'm really having a hard time.
Okay.
I have a hard time this spring. Might have to take a trip.
All right, now you're cut loose, Joe.
All right, now, sorry about that breach of order. Discussion 6 is to approve the 3/11/24 minutes from Matt.
I have them here if anyone has questions on them.
I really like it.
They're really good, yeah.
We'll mimic the best I can.
Is he listening to the transcript or is he just doing it all?
He was doing it real
Have you read
time.
the-
I think when you leave here, it's done,
Have you read the transcript at all?
Mm-mm.
but they're numerous.
So funny.
Oh,
You should read the transcript.
oh, I really meant the video, but,
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah,
But you should, Duncan sends out the transcript. I read a little bit of it almost every time, but then. it's
Just
so funny.
an aside, I tried using ChatGPT to summarize, but it wasn't very good.
It was not good at all. Okay.
Well, does somebody want to
Okay,
make a
I
motion?
move.
Oh,
that
yes,
we-
yes,
yeah.
I read them. They look great. So
Move.
I'm so, do I move to approve the minutes?
I second. Oh,
Yeah.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're quite a good ways ahead of
We'll just go at
time.
the end, so don't keep saying
Point
it.
7 is determine recipient for packed emails, and do we need to elect a chair? I think those are two separate topics. What is the question behind determine recipients for packed emails? Do we still?
Somebody sends an email to parking advisory.
Oh.
I didn't know this until
Is there
Lisa, I think, tried to send an email to us and it bounced.
does it go to Kevin usually?
I think
Eh,
so.
Previously.
was it a Gmail account or was it a richmondvt.gov account?
Yes, Kevin got it, and I think it's Gmail.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm not wrong.
So.
does that email appear anywhere? Is it on our signs or?
Good question.
I would think that if you're on the website looking at Richmond parking and for contact, you probably hit contact and it probably comes up with Richmond parking at,
We may just want to get rid of that. What do you
Mhm.
think?
well, you're exactly right, John. That's two separate questions. And I don't even want to touch the chair question without Matt being here. So I would suggest we drop that piece of the question.
We can elect them.
Yeah,
What's
I
that?
think
We can elect
that's
them.
the way it works.
Yeah.
You're not here to defend yourself.
Campaign.
If elected, I will not serve.
So the question is, we have this, I
Um,
think we have this email address floating around out there, and right now the emails don't go anywhere.
Oh, we
So-
need to shut it down.
So
Do we need to, well, I don't think we can I don't think that's the answer.
what I think we would do,
Somebody
think-
needs to answer it.
I could see, I don't expect a whole lot of email there, but I could imagine having a richmondvt.gov email that is parking at richmondvt.gov or something like that. And we could recover the Gmail thing and have it forwarded to that email on the outside chance that something,
I certainly think as far as from the world of transparency and us caring what our constituents think of and all that stuff, they need to have an email
Wouldn't
address
hurt.
to reach out to us. Lisa, you tried to send to an email address and it bounced, and previously that had been an email address that was just the Richmond Parking Advisory Committee?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to go look, but yeah, it was, listed in the list of members, on the town website.
well, wait a minute, I was just looking at that, Lisa,
I don't
dude.
see it.
I don't see it.
Oh, there you are. Whoops, that's your screen, not mine. Let's see. Hang on, I gotta figure out how to get there.
So it could have been Kevin's,
Kevin,
When Kevin was on
believe-
board, I was seeing emails that were from the Richmond Parking Advisory Committee.
And I believe I set that up for him.
Okay.
And I can, you're right, it's a big deal to try to get rid of an account, close it. But on the outside chance that that has appeared somewhere else, I think the safer thing would be to put a forward on it.
So I'm thinking, so that
Good idea.
one on the next part of the question was,
Mhm.
who gets the forward? Do we forward to all of us? Do we forward to one of us? And that's the
Um,
question the chair came in.
Yeah, would it make sense to have it routed to Josh? Attention? No? Okay, then it could be our
If-
vacant chair.
If anybody, Duncan, or
Yeah, or
around
Duncan.
to all of us.
oh, I see it. I
All
see it.
Where is it?
Richmond Parking Committee at gmail.com.
So I'll,
In 9/12/22.
oh my gosh, so 2 years of spam. I'll recover that. But if it appears out there, I think the right thing to do would be to forward it and the question is to where?
John, do you want to take this on?
Yeah.
Let me just stick in a word here. I'm looking at the Andrews Community Forest roster or members list. And there's two emails listed there. One is Ian Stokes, the co-chair, and that's Richmond Town Forest, all one word, at the letters at gmail.com. So it's not written out as an email address.
That's for scrapers. That's
Exactly. It prevents the low-hanging fruit, for
Yeah.
the malcontents out there.
Yeah.
That seems to work. I mean, someone just needs to know, to replace the AT with the at symbol and close the spaces.
Even though we're working, as an official advisory to the select board, it probably should be a richmondvt.gov account because it would, just like what happened now is Kevin moved off and we don't have it. And I also think that it should never be a personal email for, because like I got a call, I got a phone call out of the blue from somebody in the Northeast Kingdom asking about why can't I do, I don't even remember what it was. Yeah, something like that. And I was like, I don't know.
I think this should be 100% handled by the town.
Yeah.
I don't think we as a committee should have anything to do with this.
Right. It should be probably Duncan or Josh to, decide and give it, probably Duncan would do it. I don't have a .gov email. I have a .org email myself.
What is that?
I think the .gov is for official business.
Oh yeah, you might be right. Yeah. Well, it's richmondvt.gov. What is your email, Lisa? Is this for the select?
Mine is lisa.miller at richmondvt.org.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not paid enough, I think, to be a .gov.
All 5 select board members have .org. Yes.
Exactly. Right.
I think you actually.
I don't think it's unintentional. I don't know what the reason is, but I'm okay with it. People can send me email and it separates it from my own personal email, which to John's point, whoever said that, I wouldn't want my own email address up there either. So it's hard enough to keep the .org one clean. But at least it doesn't boil over into spam and so forth that I get with other accounts, which is nice. I don't think the town should have to deal with that.
I think you're onto something. I think paid employees of the municipality are probably .gov.
I think so.
Volunteers are .org.
That seems to be the way it goes. Yeah, the employees that I can think of at the town center that I might email all do seem to be .gov. Josh is definitely, and I'm a .org, which is fine.
So I still move that I think we should contact Duncan.
I think it's a great idea.
And we should have
he'll have advice.
a .org address created by him for the group that we have control over, but we get the.
Yeah, and I noticed further, I mean, there were some of our committees have a worded out, so-and-so at gmail.com and others don't. And I think it makes sense for every one of the organizations to have some way of contacting them or sending them information or asking questions or, for someone that wasn't lucky enough to get to an actual meeting with live people. And not all business, sometimes it's pretty mundane questions and it really shouldn't clog up an agenda for a meeting. Anyway, so Duncan might have some insight on that. Do you want me to ask him or because, I could ask him.
I just think that it should be something that we don't have any control over and that as we have turnover, that the town wants to be able to control where the emails go.
Yes, exactly, Chuck. That's, forming accounts and removing accounts and so forth could turn into a large job after some time. We'd have we've got 20, almost 30 committees and commissions and boards. And, you know, those should each have one theoretically, and then all the various people involved in the town. Yeah, it's,
Something's not quite right with
I
the
will
way
reach
this is
out.
constructed. Oh,
I will reach out to Duncan, and ask him if he can create that at the same time. Diane, if you can send me where that incorrect
Good.
email
the-
is, we can.
At the risk of, you know, when somebody else offers, I should probably say yes, but I'm thinking if I have to do this forwarding, it might make sense for me to talk to him.
But I don't wanna,
Oh, wait. So I was just trying, yeah,
I don't think we should have that Gmail address ever.
right. So
I
I
don't
will,
want a committee member who has control of emails because of turnover and such.
right. So I think what we're gonna do, I'll look into deleting it, and absent that, I'll put a permanent forward on it.
Where would the forward go?
That's the question. That's why I was thinking that I think if you talk to Duncan about that, then just let me know what you all agree, and I'll route any email that goes there.
And my recollection when I started was that if I wanted my email and personal email address on the town website, that they would put it there. And I didn't. And I think I was told if I wanted one created for me, which I guess would be a .org, they would do it for me. That was a few years ago. I don't know if both of things are true. And at the moment, I wasn't really wanting either of those options.
I think you're right. I remember both of those, and I just took a quick look at, like the Recreation Committee, and they have their own personal ones out there with the @, you know.
Yeah.
So they don't get,
Hmm.
and I do kind of, I think it's great that we have one.
Mhm.
So that we can come and go and there'll be one that won't go away, just someone won't be able to look at it.
I will tell you that the .orgs, the owner of that is an individual who is .porkbun.com, so that's a little bit weird. But anyway.
Hmm.
So wait, how did we leave that? Are you gonna talk to
I
Duncan?
have no preference. I mean, if you wanna do it, fine. My suggestion would be that whoever writes the old email address gets an auto reply that says the email address has been changed, and you give them the new email address.
I'll do that.
Rather than
Yeah,
forwarding.
I'll
all
do that. I'll figure out a way, or, yeah, I'll figure that
You
out.
wanna take care of that.
Yeah, and then I can talk to Duncan about. Now,
I just don't want
We-
it getting too complicated.
right, I just think that would prevent. It would only be one person rather than two of us.
Now,
Poking
can
at-
you add one other thing to the list that you're gonna talk about, Duncan? Also about our Google Docs, like, so that we can all look at stuff, but does that need to go anywhere? I don't know.
Now, okay, I'll ask about that. So I believe that that's also on our private, the one that we set up with Kara.
Yes.
So we should, I'll ask him. I think Duncan is the right
That's what
person.
how other committees do, Google, document sharing.
And did we all agree that none of us want an individual .org or .gov? It would just be one. And did we get to the point of who it should go to? Who would have that
We did not
inbox?
get to that point.
My gut. Again, my gut telling me, first of all, let's get the first base. Which is creating a new address and bounce back on the old address. If we're not gonna have a chair, then I think it should go to everybody.
I agree.
Okay, and there's no,
We'll just have to decide among ourselves who's answering.
the interesting thing is that from a open meeting law, if somebody sends it and if anybody hits
It's fine to hit
reply all,
when in conversation.
okay,
Yeah,
great.
you just can't make decisions. But
Okay, gotcha.
You can do reply all and say, thank you, Lisa, we're gonna talk about it at our next meeting, if you'd like to show up, and talk about this more with us, that'd be great. Okay,
Mhm.
when you-
Fantastic.
So that would be, as long as we don't do business amongst each other.
exactly right.
Okay,
You guys know about the training that's upcoming also?
Yeah.
Lined up, I think, yeah.
April sometime, I don't remember the date. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are fine. There's been a couple of committees that are kind of running wild with it, so we need to discuss or show them what's okay, what's not okay. I think they'll be fine with it. They just need to know.
Just to-dos. So what about so the second part of this is, do we need to elect a chair?
And I would say let's table that until we have a full group. So Matt's here.
Okay,
That was just, I saw those two as being one question,
Mhm.
but they really are two very separate
But,
questions.
but we could nominate him now and
I was gonna say, we're missing a chance.
You just second my motion.
It could be a runaway. The dark horse wins.
I'm just making personal notes. So remove the old email,
All right.
add forwarding. Create Richmond VT org go. Send to all
Lisa,
and
quick question while we're pondering here.
Yeah.
Is there any movement on our suggestions to change the ordinances in the Richmond parking areas on the select board level? And congratulations. Appointment.
I don't know of anything going on currently about that. However, it's been a while since that question came up. I think it was sometime like last October or so, or
Or toward the first of the year, I think. So
was it first of the year? Okay. I don't know about that. I guess there's two excuse me, two ways that can go. If it's a simple little question about, yes or no on something, that's one thing. It probably doesn't need to go to the select board, maybe in either case. But if it's something more far-reaching or policy related or politically related or something, I guess that would have to still go through Josh for sort of, I wouldn't say a filter, but kind of what does it relate to? He can add some skin on the bones, and make it into something that can be debated. But I'm sorry to tell you, I don't know of those going through. Now, the parking ordinances, maybe I just said the wrong thing, but there are amendments and adjustments coming to the parking ordinances, and I think that's on the select board's agenda. I don't have one in front of me, but I know there's something coming, and we're going to vote on changes to some ordinances. So, and those normally require a public hearing, as far as I'm aware. So it's a slow process, but we haven't forgotten about it. So, but you haven't heard anything from anyone?
I'm sorry, is this the overnight parking along the road? Is it, okay, that's what we're talking about? Okay.
well, adding overrockers to the list of
Oh, the
Richmond parking areas and then clarifying the wording of overnight parking. Were really the two pertinent suggestions I think that we made.
Okay, wasn't sure if there are others. I have seen some suggested language recently, and of course now can I point to it? No, but I could dig around and let you know. I'll send it to that email address you're going to set up.
And
You should have said I answered that in detail. I sent it in the email. Didn't you get it?
yeah, exactly. Which
I get way more information than I can possibly process. I'll tell you, it's the Firehouse, information source. Mhm.
we're about to step into another one of those circular references. I think that we're to the additions. Just since it makes sense, I'll take them in reverse order, if that's okay. We talked about the old water tower area. That's Richmond Town parking. Depending on what we discuss, might we also want to add that to the ordinance language?
That's my goal.
Mhm.
So is that okay if we talk about that and then we talk about the Eclipse?
And then we have two other items on there. Anyways, I don't care whichever one you want to do first.
Junior fire.
Lisa, well, I'll hit water tower, do it quick.
Okay, 709 water tower.
Yeah, one of the thoughts that there was quite a lot of concern from the people up in Hillview regarding some parking up in Water Tower. You wanna
Okay.
say something? You had your hand up. Do you want to say something first?
Well, just before I forget, my brain doesn't retain everything anymore. It's full of holes. One of the main intents, I think, of rejuvenating or embellishing, not embellishing, but adding to the parking ordinance language is to give the chief some enforcement authority that he can actually use and apply. And from what I've seen, he's got that. I don't know of a comment from him or, the police subject all around is a rapidly moving target these days. So, but I think as far as I've heard, the chief has read those amendments or revisions and is okay with them. I mean, he has a lot of personal gravitas, I guess you'd call it, when he approaches someone. And first, he's got the badge and the gun, and the whole thing. It's like this is not foolish, and he knows how to use that. He can intimidate someone very gently. Just he's an authority. He projects it. He's very calm and measured. He gives people an answer that they can use, and you can't write that in an ordinance, really, but he knows how to do that, perform that role. And so almost any languages that was out there, he can take and, enforce with it. But our effort was to try to get it clear so that not only does he understand it, but the people who are going to be read it are going to understand it too, the people that have to follow it.
Thank you. I'm
Mhm.
glad he's okay with
So-
that.
I will find out where that is. It's not, I mean, it's alive and well somewhere out there, but it's a big wilderness.
It's good to hear that you're seeing it pop on once in a while, and it's in the sausage maker, so we appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't know what flavor yet, but it's sausage, yeah.
But one of the questions we had was the people up had complaining quite a bit. Hillview, what's it about?
Southview.
Southview, oh,
That parking area up there, and I think
yeah,
one of the problems I see is that we have parking and we have no parking, and then we have quasi parking. And that old water tower area is being used for parking. I believe it's on town land.
okay.
And I think, to be fair to everybody, there's two choices. Either we close it off,
Mhm.
or I would suggest that we have that fall under our umbrella and make that a bona fide Richmond recreational parking area.
Mhm.
And have some input as to how it's used.
Is that for trail users or joggers, or is there a primary
idea.
clientele?
Never.
I have
I'm
no
not gonna
idea.
go with cyclists and runners, but
Oh, okay.
Is there a trail there?
There's no, there's a trail, the old, what's that called? The old something trail that parallels the Jericho Road.
Mhm.
People park, I think, primarily at the vast snow machine parking lot, which
Uh-huh.
is farther up the Southview Road.
At the power line.
But people like to walk, people like to bike, they just
Mhm.
park where they can, where it's
Mhm.
safe and legal, and that's a safe and legal place to park if you wanted to go biking.
So
Mhm.
is that,
Mhm.
would wanna talk to the trails folks about doing together? Is that like a bonus?
Well, I don't know. It sounds like there's not a trailhead.
And that's what I was
No,
wondering.
no, it's just a place one could park and go biking.
It's just a parking.
Right, but
Yeah.
so I was just wondering if this old woods trail or whatever it is that a potential new trail? Trails-
I'm talking about a trail that's on the town map that parallels the Jericho Road. It's
Right,
the old-
I know that.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
goes- and it snakes up into Southview, right? Is that the one?
No, it
Or-
parallels and then it comes out at across the street from Sip of Sunshine bike trail.
Oh, cool.
Hmm.
We spent so many hours on the edge of the homeless issue. I would personally rather not delve back into that. If there's something we can add, but to help make that a better parking place for people, but I'm not eager to delve back into something that I think we handed off to the select board.
Mhm. Mhm. Hmm. I don't have a ready answer on that. Hmm. I'll talk, I think it's, when it boils down to, I think, is enforcement more than anything else. If it's parking and nobody has a problem with it, it's what's the need, but, it would be better in an ideal world, we'd have defined parking for every kind of use. It'd be nearby that use. There'd be enough of it always, and if there wasn't, people would know where the other, parking areas are. That's a reach for what we have now, but what really, the most important thing I feel is knowing if something can be enforced and what's needed to enforce it, if it needs to be enforced. And that's where, I'll talk to Chief and see what he has to say. I've asked him before, is he comfortable with the tools that we have for him to use for enforcement? And he, just between you and me, the chief seems to do it his way. Whatever is written, if he needs it, it's useful, but he often doesn't need it. He has his own way of doing things. Now, he doesn't do anything that's illegal that I'm aware of, but he knows he can either entice or intimidate, or he can kind of cajole, he can dictate. He's got all those scenarios, I guess, under his control. So ordinances to him are great, but he would do the same things without them, I think. I didn't say that, but he's good at knowing people and what's needed to accomplish the results.
All right, thank you. So
Mhm.
what I'm hearing is, you possibly wanting to just take this on as one of our spots. I personally, I gotta tell you, I don't think I've ever pulled into that. Maybe it's a good idea for us individually or together, to want to go take a look around there and see if it can be improved upon. I have no idea, like the lines like Pete made down, near West White Hill made a great difference. I have no idea. I would like to go look at it and sort of walk around and go like, if I've ever been here. And if nothing else, become more familiar with it. Recreational parking, if people are parking there. Yeah, I think it should be part of our purview and possibly on the maps, like John put on Overrocker, maybe, additional parking. You're trying to figure out where to ride your bike in Richmond, maybe.
I love creating more if it's safe. Yeah, I think that would be great. And then going back to the first thing is we would suggest we should think about that and decide on it before they make the ordinance change, because we were thinking of adding Overrocker and.
It's not a park. It's parking. There's no park there. So Overrocker is, so there's the park ordinance covers Volunteers Green, Browns Court, and does not include Overrocker. So we include Overrocker.
Yeah, just
You raised an
putting,
interesting question. Huh?
putting every pull off on every road into an ordinance. I just doesn't
No,
feel like
So
that's
it's not a park.
It's
Okay.
not an
All right.
ordinance.
Yeah.
It's a putting it on our list of
yeah.
parking lots.
I agree that we don't need to make it special, but when we went to that work of clarifying the language so people can't sleep there, that doesn't, I guess
No.
like it doesn't cover somebody sleeping by the side of the road, not our job. Yeah, okay.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think the people who live there came to us with a concern.
Right.
But they also came to the select board, and the select board's addressing it one
Mhm.
way or another.
Mhm.
We can, by taking that on, we can create a tool to give the chief the ability to go in there and do stuff.
I really don't want to get involved.
Then I think we should
Mhm.
block
Right.
it off. There shouldn't be any parking there, because you can't have, well, if it's not recreational parking, John, what kind of parking is it?
I think you can go to the select board and share
Mhm.
your concern with them. But I don't think us as a committee need to get involved in homeless issues with roadside parking. I mean, if you take the Heinsberg Road, there's a big pull off on that road, and we could decide that we want, it's our job to make sure homeless people don't park there. That's not our job.
Right, I see
That's
the
right.
clarity.
I see that.
Yep.
So, given what you've said, which makes sense, would we want to put it on our map? Or are we,
We all just stop there.
Yeah.
Just go pull in there, just take a look, walk around. See
Oh,
if it warrants.
stop there
No,
physically?
no, I mean,
Yeah.
physically stop there.
Yeah.
Just look, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the parking at the bottom of West White Hill on our map. The Edmonds Bridge parking.
Mhm.
Does
And
it,
that doesn't ban overnight parking there. That's not part of but
There's
we
nothing on
have
it.
some say in how that gets used. That's all I'm looking for.
Mhm.
And I think these quasi parking areas, just because there's a flat spot you can pull off in, everybody says it's a parking. Well, I think we either need to call it a parking area, and John can put it on his map, or nobody parks there. It's town property. We should just make it, in my mind, we should make that a parking area. We shouldn't apply the park ordinances
The park
to it, but
ordinance.
that's not my goal. But my goal is to have some control over what goes on there.
Mhm.
I'm fine with chief handling this as Lisa has described.
So just to make it official. You want to make a motion?
I make a motion, I will suggest that we go and look at that. We all drive by and take a look at that place.
I really
That's the right thing to do.
I appreciate that.
think
Mhm.
all the years I've lived here, I've never really stopped there. I'd like to see what it's like and,
The
Yeah.
last time I stopped there, it was running with Sumner Williams.
last time we stopped there, I think Max's car.
Oh, that's
was
right.
the last time.
Night I knocked the power.
I think it's for multiple reasons, I think yeah, I'd like to take a look at it.
Is it,
And
John?
yeah.
is it this?
Old Brooklyn Court, oh no, Old Jericho Road, that's what I was looking for the name of.
Well, you can see that right over the bank right there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Old Jericho Road. And
And that's the Browns River. right?
It's a pretty good recreational use to it too, right there.
it's on the vast trail parts of it.
Is it?
Interesting.
Good to see people walking that way to better make like me.
Be interesting to explore that. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Prep for next year, next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the other, we had a couple of other things.
Yes,
Let's talk about the land near the firehouse.
okay.
So is this is the land that's sort of orphaned by the
Yeah.
bridge movement?
It's a very short conversation.
Mhm.
I just need to write this down for timestamp.
It's gonna be between the new Route 2 and the railroad tracks. What's gonna be that? What's happening to the old Route 2, in other words?
Where Firehouse is, where the new Route 2 road is that goes up over the interstate. I asked Josh what's happening to the old
Right between there and the tracks, that old Route 2.
There's no
road
tracks.
tracks
Oh.
though. It's the old,
There's
what's,
a ribbon. Okay, you're right.
There's
you're right.
there's an
Yeah.
oxbow down there and there's a
so I asked him, I was thinking like, wow, can we get that parking? What can we do with that? And no, we can't do anything. It's V-Trans is gonna incorporate that whole hill to
Oh.
support the new road. So
Ah.
the road that you're driving on right now, as you look over to the new road that's being done at Firehouse, and that was gonna go away, and there'll be a big slope there
Oh, that's so interesting.
to support the,
Yeah, it makes sense.
so it was a good ask.
Yeah, good thought.
Yeah.
Okay, additions, Eclipse parking. Is there anything we need to do?
I'm thinking there wasn't, but I was just gonna mention it, that the town was getting portalets, and I assume they're gonna handle the parking at the volunteers green, and that the other parking areas aren't really near good viewing zones. I just was gonna check with if anyone else had a different opinion on that.
That's what I've heard.
That's exactly what the trails and the parks committees have said, in so many words too. Nobody's gonna go out on a trail to view the eclipse, there's very few places on trails that have a clear view of the sky for more than, just a little hole. So they
So,
weren't concerned about it. The park, the Parks Committee, yeah. But they're going to depend on police enforcement and signage to keep track of to control parking.
I imagine it'll be like 4th of July, like the police will look the other way, which is what you're supposed to do with the eclipse.
Yeah, the big picture is, the people are here for a good reason, not a bad one. So, yep. Mhm.
You're so bad.
Dad joke at 7:25, 7:27. All right,
Yeah,
I
so
think
this-
those were all the additional items. Is that correct?
No, I've got one more. So
Okay.
This is the
Oh,
new
I have
road.
another question.
Oh, yeah, there's train tracks down there.
There is train track?
Yeah, but it's way down.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know where you're talking about.
May I just finish up
Jim's note. Yeah.
note, because it's really it's good feedback. And I just need to write this down, so it's on my timestamp it. And, I'm gonna read the whole thing. Hi, Diane, I did receive the email. Thanks for following up. RLT has made some progress on parking plans for 2024. We will have meetings in April, which should finalize what we hope to accomplish. Specifically, we plan to open the auxiliary lot at Beacon. You
Hmm.
know which one that is? Because they were doing work on that last year, permit work on that. We plan to open the auxiliary lot at Beacon and close the current
Oh,
small lots. This is where I'm a little confused. Remember what he's saying. However, with the development of Overrockers, we are undecided if in fact we need to make this a permanent year-round lot.
Hmm.
You know how Overrockers is used in the wintertime?
All right, so there's the canoe access that's been there forever on
Yes.
Cochran Road. And then there's the one towards the village that they made in the field.
right.
Yes.
And I didn't quite follow. Were they going to close one of those two?
Sounds like they're not, but
Wait.
he's talking, I think he's referring to the field, the new Beacon parking, which they've been using in the field. He says that with Overrockers just being down the road, they're not sure if they're gonna be plowing that new area for the winter.
Didn't I hear though that they were gonna stop using the
Let me keep
current one
reading. Let me keep reading because they talk about this. We do plan to continue the canoe access at Beacon, although it really needs some attention.
Yeah.
As does the trail, which again, we will require grant funds from somewhere. The access would be from the new Beacon lot or drop off along the road with parking nearby. I think they're still not sure what they're doing there. I'll ask them to give us an update on that. So I am a little confused on that. I do know that they have wanted for years to close the original Beacon because of the pitch of it and also pulling out of it's really hard.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous to pull out.
It doesn't drain.
Let me ask him to, after they meet in April, can you please explain that? Explain what will be there. Will be open or not?
No, I'm pretty full. Thank you.
I already read the part we plan, Gillett, I already read the part about Bombardier. And that's it. I just wanted to get that little bit in about Beacon.
What was the part about Overrockers?
So if they make that the field part that they've been using since the pandemic 2020, I think that's when we opened it. If they make that for their permanent parking for the Beacon canoe access, that they're wondering if they need to make it year round if Overrockers is right down the road from it. It's not like people need canoe access in the wintertime. And I guess the question I have for him, are they just keeping it, are they just gonna continue to have it as grass? In which case, oh, yeah, I guess that's what they have at the other one. I think they're thinking that the muddy times when people are parking at the other one becomes even worse. So if they can close it off in times of, you know, little to no usage, I'll ask him to explain what will be open and what will not.
So am I hearing there's no changes in Richmond Land Trust parking on Cochran Road, from at least,
I think what legally is that they're moving from that temporary parking area into a permanent parking area. So they've done the work last year
this is
on.
by Warren Beacon Stone Field there.
Yes. Yeah. So they have moved ahead on making that their new parking area. Unclear of where you drop the canoes. From what I read. Read it again. I've read it 3 times.
As someone that occasionally walks off season, it's handy for me to have more than one choice as to where I park and not have to just park at Over Rockers, but
I often go walk there in the wintertime also, so.
Yeah.
They do plow over rockers through the winter.
He does, yeah. I mean, not like right on it, if there's snow, it happens a couple days after when they get to it. He has been. I'll send him another question, but he didn't answer me about, he forgot. My other comment was, would RLT consider putting their parking areas on Google Maps and Apple Maps, and he didn't answer that, so
Okay.
I asked him, could you?
Yeah, I think we need to ask them before we put their stuff out there.
Absolutely. I think they should own their stuff, John.
Should we?
I asked,
Okay.
I sent an email back to Jim saying, hey, did you have a chance to look at number 3? What do you all think about
Okay.
that? That's all I said. Anything else on that?
Who has access to the Google Maps? Can one of their people do that, or is that something?
So there's two things we call Google Maps. One is the map that we keep that's on the Richmond website, which is done in Google Maps, but it's a private map. And I maintain that, but any of you can edit it, but the public can't. But then the real Google Maps is the process is that you can suggest a name for something, and then it's curated by a human. So you can't dox somebody and say, you know, town dump at your old girlfriend's house or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've made comments on the global Google Maps, and I've seen it down the road, they've been adopted.
Yeah, but
River access.
we had the issue where somebody had put Chamberlain Hill parking where what we call checkered house parking, and I put in a correction, but in hindsight, it doesn't hurt to have multiple names for stuff.
So are you going to,
I think what I would do,
are you gonna just put Checkered House Bridge?
I don't even know how you could withdraw one, but I did put checkered house parking, but there's no reason for me to remove theirs.
No, I wouldn't remove
Yeah,
it. If they
But
want to call it
that's
that.
their choice, yeah, but
It is unfortunate that we can't put any other comments on it. Oh, wait, we can comment it, but you can't. put
yeah,
a
you can
description.
comment, that's true.
So we could comment to Checkered. Well, we could comment to Chamberlain Hills saying the opening and closing date. That's not a bad idea, John. From Parking Advisory.
Eclipse that we're on to.
Yeah,
finish that.
We just kind of said, we're not sure we can do about that, but
That the town's covering it and there wasn't anything we needed to do, right?
just caught attention that they took my correction.
Oh, nice. But when you hit about, we can't put anything in there? Now you see where it says about on the left? On the left,
Yeah.
you see overview, wait, go back up. You see where it says overview up, about, what is that?
Mhm.
What does that say there? Accessibility.
That is a really good question, and
Can
I
we-
will look at what I can do.
Can we say open seasonally? And do you have the dates? I think it's, what was it, May?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Chuck, was it
May
May
15th, November 15th.
15th to November?
Yeah, I can suggest, if somebody could come up with, I think I can suggest an edit. You're not able to edit that directly. It's not like, I mean, I don't think you can actually comment
I
on
like
this
the, I
thing.
like the hours of
Well,
operation.
you can write a review,
Review.
you can write a review,
Well, maybe we'll put it.
but,
What was it, Zoom?
It'd be really nice somewhere to say seasonal parking open May 15th to November 15th. That would be awesome, actually.
you can write a review. But I think I can suggest an edit I think I can suggest an edit and ask them
Okay,
now that that's approved.
okay, I'm gonna put that.
Worst case, we could add a photo to it with a photo of the sign says.
Oh, there you go. If I'm not mistaken, you don't need their help to do that. No, do you? Yes, you do for that. I think it's the same thing.
If we could add a photo, that would be great. All right, are we, have we ordered those signs? Are you waiting for them to transfer?
Believe so.
Nice, okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Those signs, no.
Okay.
They are absolute limbo. That's why my question was the P, or would be. P question, I guess, and am I going the wrong route and can Pete put signs in the. On the Johnny Brook side,
right away,
or do we have to put state signs there?
good question. You've got that.
And I've been trying to go through the state, but
Let's go with Pete.
I haven't been making it look easy.
All right, anything else? Anyone?
I think that is the entire reserve for additions. Okay, so I think that we've covered all our business. We're about 22 minutes before the end of the meeting. But if no one, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn the meeting.
I have a second.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that ends the March 25th to 2024 Parking Advisory Committee. Thank you for playing.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Bye.